All right, the acting Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kevin McAleenan back on the Hill today, the second day running a testimony on the need to address the immigration crisis. So what's needed now at the border, especially with this friction between the legislative branch and the executive branch on what to do there. Customs and Border Protection Deputy Commissioner Robert Perez with us now. Commissioner, good to have you back.
Thank you, Neil. Good to be with you. What
is going on right now? I mean, obviously, it's a crisis. It's an emergency. You know, the Democrats who dismiss that are no longer saying that. So I think we're beyond that. Where the differences are is how to address it. They are still steadfastly holding that. It's Democrats to this emergency figure request that the president wants, saying don't use a penny of it for a wall. What do you want to use it for?
Well, look, Neil, I can't overemphasize the importance of following through with the supplemental bill proposal, the $4.5 billion, that not only helps fund the immediate crisis for Customs and Border Protection, but all the agencies involved in the immigration continuum, as I like to refer to it. Look, I'll just tell you, just this week, as you know, and most people have heard, we had an absolute tragedy, the loss of a young Guatemalan teenager in our custody by the name of Carlos, 16 years old, who passed away earlier this week. Our hearts go out to their family, certainly to our frontline men and women, too, who did everything they could to care for him. But we are absolutely overwhelmed at the border, Neil. This is an absolute humanitarian crisis. These are vulnerable populations that are being abused and taken advantage of by criminal elements throughout their journey to the border. And we absolutely need this supplemental funding to deal with the crisis at hand right now. And make no mistake about it, we absolutely also need the legal framework to be fixed. That is something we've been talking about for years. I know the acting secretary emphasized in his testimony this week, as I did in my testimony up on the Hill last week.
You know, this teenage boy who died. Now, we understand later that he was not with his parents here. He was alone here. He had come, and this happens a lot. What's the story with that?
It's absolutely tragic, Neil. We're seeing an unprecedented amount of families and unaccompanied children. 66% last month of the over 100,000 people we apprehended and or encountered were families and unaccompanied children. This young Guatemalan boy actually arrived with his sister, but nevertheless, again, unaccompanied as a child. And so over the course of the time with us, was fallen with the flu, and unfortunately, this tragedy before us. Look, the fact is that when they come to CBP, our intake, if you will, is meant to be and designed for short term, not for anything like what it is we're dealing with by sheer volume and numbers. And again, this very vulnerable population, Neil. It's absolutely tragic. One life is too many. Our hearts go out to him and to his family. But we need Congress to help us alongside everything that we've been doing, an unprecedented degree of physicians and medical support on the field with our officers or agents, over 1,000 deployed to the southern border to help surge and deal with this crisis. We're doing all we can. We're going to continue to do it. We need Congress to do their part.
Real quickly, I'd be remiss if I didn't make an update on this, trying to reinforce some of the 1996 immigration laws that call on those who sponsor immigrants to also have affidavits of support filed for them. In other words, that they will take on the financial responsibility for those they sponsor, just to tighten that up. How do you feel about that?
Well, again, Neil, our colleagues in Citizenship and Immigration Services are working on those sorts of potential remedies. These are all contributing pull factors, if you will, that we continue to deal with, that we're going to do everything we possibly can on our part. But again, it's critical that while we pursue those potential remedies, they do their part up on Capitol Hill.
All right, Commissioner, thank you for taking the time. We do appreciate it.